Nikkei Asia News Roundup
with Jada and Brian. Welcome to the Nikkei Asia News Roundup with your hosts, Jada and Brian.
bringing you the latest updates and insights on the dynamic world of Asia and more.
Now let's delve into the headlines. This program is brought to you by Nikkei.
Japan's publicly traded companies are expected to pay a total of 18.3 trillion yen, or $118 billion, in dividends for fiscal 2024, which ends in March, topping records for the fourth straight year as calls grow for corporations to use their capital more efficiently.
China on Tuesday slapped fresh tariffs on imports from the U.S., just as President Donald Trump's new 10% blanket levy on Chinese goods took effect.
Global shipments of digital cameras grew for the first time in 7 years in 2024, with demand buoyed by China's Generation Z users who are not satisfied with smartphone cameras for standout photos for social media.
Indonesia's economy grew 5.03% in 2024, expanding at the slowest pace in 3 years, as demand ebbed from the country's shrinking middle class and its key export market, China, according to data released Wednesday.
The pet industry is booming in India as pet owners eagerly spend on their animal companions. The country's pet care market will grow from $3.6 billion in fiscal 2023 to roughly $7 billion in fiscal 2027, local consulting firm Red Seer projects.
The Philippines declared a food security emergency on Monday, allowing it to release its buffer stocks of rice into the market as part of government efforts to manage inflation. Now moving on to the next segment.
Vietnam fires up wellness tourism to rival Thailand and Indonesia. Vietnam, Southeast Asia's fastest-growing economy, is competing against Bali and Phuket in wellness tourism, with a rising domestic industry that is forecast to outpace global growth. Whether hot springs or cold plunges, some businesses in the country are devoted to a single pursuit, while others have a menu of singing bowls, Reiki, Ayurvedic elixirs, and wishing candle ceremonies. Customers range from tourists adding a healthful element to their vacations to friends preferring to socialize at herbal saunas instead of pubs. Vietnam's spa revenues reached $1.4 billion in 2023, putting it in the top 20 markets worldwide, Global Wellness Institute said. The average annual growth rate from 2019 to 2023 was 13.3%, the second highest in the world after the United Arab Emirates. The bid to capture foreign and local spending, however, comes paired with worries about a wellness industrial complex, from commodifying ancient healing to snake oil sold on unfettered social media. The COVID-19 pandemic may have unleashed demand for healthful living, but also skepticism of science. Some of this found a home in the wellness boom, wherein unregulated and unproven claims mean anyone can be a health influencer. Vietnam's government has been warning citizens against traditional medicine of uncertain origin, pyramid schemes, and fluffed-up internet advertising.
Cambodia turns to daily stats to calm air quality concerns. The Cambodian government has begun releasing daily air quality readings after farmland fires sent pollution levels soaring across much of the country. Phnom Penh residents woke up over the weekend to one of the worst air quality indexes in the world, according to IQ Air, a Swiss outfit that tracks polluted skies. According to IQ Air, Phnom Penh's index put it in the very unhealthy range, which means the air is unsuitable for all groups of people. Phnom Penh remained in the top 10 polluted cities until the afternoon of February 2nd, with visible smog and poor air. The Cambodian capital was first enveloped in a dark haze the morning of January 24th, when it was the second most polluted city in the world. Residents aired their concerns online, eliciting a quick rebuttal from the government. NASA satellite data shows fires burning across large swaths of the greater Mekong subregion. Fires flared across Cambodia in early January, coinciding with the start of the dry season. To address concerns expressed by local news outlets and on social media, the Ministry of Environment started publishing daily AQI updates for all 25 provinces. The reports include PM 2.5 levels from 47 stations.
And now for news highlights. In each episode, Jada and I have a discussion about a recent article that has particularly captured our attention.
And today we're going to talk about South Korea's ongoing political drama from one interesting angle, I think, which is how young men have become a key support base for impeached President Yoon Suk Yeol.
Now, the situation in South Korea is ongoing, or unfolding, so changing almost day by day. And we have a lot of articles about that, both politically and over the years we've had stories about it economically. Now, this article particularly focuses on one man who wrote a book.
Yeah.
And his name is Chun Hyun-woo, and he wrote a book called Sparky Days. That's the English translation. It's not been translated into English yet, the book itself.
Yeah.
But he wrote a book, and a lot of people are saying that it's really well written, which is surprising considering he's a welder by trade.
Yeah, welder turned author.
Author, apparently a talented author, too. He received praise from a former president of South Korea.
Yeah.
For the book. Yeah. Not only how he wrote it, but what it says about what's going on in society.
And that kind of matches with what's going on right now. A lot of people might feel like he's writing out, what they're feeling, what they're thinking. And I think it's a very interesting article because I've never read something that relates to South Korea's political drama that's unfolding right now. So I thought that was really interesting. The article actually compares his book, which is Sparky Days.
Sparky Days.
To
I don't know if that's the official title, but that's how it's translated.
To J.D. Vance's Hillbilly Eulogy.
Yeah, recently inaugurated U.S. Vice President who rose to fame with that book, which is a memoir of his time growing up in poor Appalachia in a working class family. And this man is working class in South Korea. And that's one of the angles where he says a lot of people, when they're addressing political situations or economic situations, they write in a, quote, white-collar language. And he's writing in a blue-collar language.
Yeah, that was a really interesting way to describe that he's speaking in a blue-collar language.
And it sounded kind of like a blue-collar language way of saying that most people addressing the situation talk down to the people that are suffering.
Yeah.
And he's speaking with them and trying to explain what's going on. And there's an interesting angle here because, as I said, the political situation continues to unfold. But back in December, the president of South Korea declared martial law, and that was rescinded, and there's still impeachment talks going on.
Yeah, so he's been impeached, and now he's been indicted, so he's waiting if he's going to be convicted, which, if that actually happens, he could go to prison for years.
And the question is, what was he doing with that martial law declaration? That is still something people are debating.
And a lot of conspiracy theories are...
This was interesting in this article. I had not considered this, but it's brought up that there is a certain contingency of people in South Korea who believe that martial law was necessary. I'm quoting the article, by the way. The martial law was necessary to overcome a covertly anti-state, pro-North Korean opposition movement that has struck a chord among younger, non-metropolitan people who feel abandoned.
That's a big part, right? Non-metropolitan.
Yeah, people in the provinces, people working blue-collar jobs, if they can get a job.
Which those provinces, a lot of them used to be hubs for manufacturing, but now have seen people leave and, not having quality jobs. And
the hollowing out of industry.
Yeah.
And there is a resentment, confusion, frustration, maybe anger.
Yeah.
And this book helps address that.
There was also an interesting statistic in here about a survey recently, right? And it was saying that 37% of respondents are still calling for the reinstatement of impeached President Yoon. So that's I thought that was a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people focus on the 59% that say he should be removed, but the 37% saying he should be reinstated is a huge chunk of the population.
Yeah. If something happens to the opposition party, that could, grow rapidly.
Yeah, a fracturing of the opposition.
Yeah.
If that 37% stays solid, that could be a significant factor in what happens in the next few months. Now, with that in mind, this author, he doesn't want division.
No.
That's the point of writing this book. He wants people to understand each other.
Yeah.
And because he doesn't see a way out of South Korea's many problems unless people actually work on it together.
Yeah. Because he says, we're all hurting and we're all tired. So.
And as the article ends with a quote from him, he says, "All I can do is keep highlighting the fact that the different classes of our country, the different regions, we all want the same things, and fighting each other won't help anything."
And that brings us to the close of today's episode.
We look forward to having you join up again for the next edition of the Nikkei Asia News Roundup.
Stay informed, stay curious. Until next time, I'm Jada.
And I'm Brian. See you again, and take care. This program is brought to you by Nikkei.